Hi, I'm Warren Sprouse. I'm host of the Sunday Night Bible Forum here every Sunday night on the web. We broadcast from our website, thebibleforum.net, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time till 10 o'clock every Sunday. These YouTubes are set up to run on the website as a recurring event throughout the week so that if you miss what we're doing tonight, you can catch it during the week. We're talking tonight about what I refer to as an anatomy of a riot. I wrote a blog about this riot in Baltimore this week. This was my first effort on Monday. Later in the week, I wrote another one along the same lines, but a different kind of a thing, because it evolved over time. Here's a full-scale riot in Baltimore, a section of Baltimore, with experts and interested parties offering all sorts of opinions as to why this thing happened. And the real reasons will probably never find their way onto newsreels or into the newspaper. In America, the major cities in this country are led by liberal progressive politicians, both black and white. The cities that are experiencing the worst of economic times, the worst of social times, and the worst of racial times are the ones who have been led by liberals for the last 50 or 60 years. People who want to live decent, people who want to earn a living and raise a family and keep a home and not have to put up with nonsense have all left. And the only thing that is still remaining in these cities are the people who don't care. America lives in a constant state of denial because the truth is not politically correct. The experts today have been trained, conditioned, to see only what they are told to see. There are exceptions. Those exceptions will not inform the acceptable conclusions, and so they are largely ignored. A young man by the name of Freddie Gray is arrested by Baltimore police for having a switchblade and a knife in his pocket. The larger story is that the police encountered Freddie in an area of Baltimore known for drug deals and violent crimes. Freddie made eye contact with the officers and then began to run. Freddie's been arrested 22 times. He has a record of misdemeanor and drug-related crimes and was known to the police. Capturing Freddie, police threw him to the ground. Reports are that an officer put his knee on Freddie's neck. Now, they don't have to do that. They don't have to throw people on the ground. They don't have to put their knee on your neck. But if you're resisting and you won't do what you're told and you won't sit still, that's what you get. They will do that. Now, why do all these cops, everywhere we look, they're putting their knee on somebody's neck? Well, they're holding somebody down, like in New York, and then after a while they can't breathe. It's procedure. This is how they're trained. This is what they do to get control of a suspect. Why do they do that? They do that so they can go home for supper, so they don't get killed or maimed or hurt. And in some cases, so that you don't get hurt worse than you do. You put your knee on somebody's neck, sometimes things happen. 30 minutes after all of this began, Freddie is in a police van. We used to call them paddy wagons. He's being transported to a hospital for treatment. We're now told that that van stopped 4 times because of him. One fellow who was in the van, not in the same compartment with Freddie, in another compartment, heard him doing what he said was throwing himself against the sides of the van in an attempt to damage himself, to make it look like they beat him up. Later, he gave that as a statement to the police. Later, he was on television saying he didn't mean that, he didn't say that. And it was clear that he was protecting himself from the mobs who were going to come after him because he was not towing the party line. On the day of the funeral, a sitting U.S. representative spoke using incendiary language to express not only his outrage, but the responsibility of the black community to stop putting up with this sort of thing. What does that mean? Now there's groups of young people in the street, milling about, feeding one another with anti-establishment sentiment. How did so many people get in the street so fast? There were thousands of young adults in that street, anything from 15-year-olds up to 50-year-olds. How'd they get off work? How'd they have the time to devote to something like this? It didn't take them long to start destroying things. That makes life better in a city that's already struggling. If you just go up and down the street and break things, burn things, steal from the merchants who are there to help you, like a drugstore that didn't even want to be there. The mayor convinced them to put the store in that bad neighborhood. They knew they weren't going to make any money there. A man who's had a shoe store in that neighborhood forever said he lost $1 million in merchandise. He's coming back, and these people are going to come in his store to buy shoes, and he's going to be nice to them, and they're going to be nice to him. But tonight, burn them, steal, take what you want. It's our right. Eventually, the National Guard is called in. Extra police from other jurisdictions are called in, and everything is gotten under control. I was pleased to see black adult men and women out there trying to stop this thing. It didn't work very well. But in the middle of all this come the experts who are trying to explain to us why. And we're hearing the same old and admittedly tired rhetoric about how the black community is being systematically destroyed by a racist society. That's me. How people feel left behind. How people don't have the ability to voice their opinions, and as a result they act out in frustration. How people view the police as the enemy, about poverty, racism, inequality. What you never hear is personal responsibility. The people in this country have a personal responsibility to take care of themselves. This is where in church we say, "Can I get an amen?" Because that is the basic reality of life. During the Depression, there were scads, millions of people from all walks of life who were experiencing significant poverty. No riots. No young people feeling they had to tear down the establishment. No young people telling their peers not to succeed if that meant living like those who had money. The neighborhoods were not dirty. The people were not dirty. The neighborhoods were neat and clean. It doesn't cost money to be neat and clean. In America, it has always been that the closer an immigrant can live like the mainstream population, the faster and the greater his progress in this country. In America, if a black man has an academic score equal to that of a white man, that black man will earn more money. Study done by George Farkas and Kevin Vicknauer. Mano a mano. Black man has the same academic score as the white man, he'll do better. He's motivated. In America, anybody can get an education that wants one. We have a man running for president, Ben Carson. He got an education. His mother wouldn't let him go out and get involved in the gangs. I don't know if it was he or someone else, but he had to read a book before he could go out. Mama knew. Education is the key in this country. These guys on the street don't care about education. Another study points out that the reason that black students do not succeed academically is because of other black students, their peer group, that are pressuring them not to succeed. To succeed is to be like the white man, to be like the oppressor. And so they have found that black students who are kept away from other black students do better. That does not negate problems that might exist in the school systems. But those problems exist for white kids too. Not the same kinds of problems, perhaps, but they're there. We have a federal, used to be state, used to be local education system that doesn't want children to be too educated. They're deliberately keeping children down. Common Core is just the latest iteration of that effort. What we see today is nothing short of a concerted effort by a majority of blacks not to succeed on the white man's terms. A people group that represents 13% of the total population. A people group who need all the help they can get. A people group that's slipping ever downward in terms of the American dream. A people group embracing a recipe for disaster. A people group determined to destroy themselves rather than become successful. And you have to ask yourself, why? The answers are legion. The family structure, the breakup of the family, the introduction of drugs into the society, the introduction of sex to small children. All of these things don't help. But I think the biggest problem are the black leaders. Very few of them out there today. There are some, very few, who will call it like it is, who will tell these people, you have a problem, you have to solve it. Yes, you can point to the greater society, the majority of society, and say, but it doesn't matter. If you're going to survive, succeed, you have to do this on your own. The black community has to get together. Other people come to this country from other countries. They weren't born here. These kids all are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 generations of American. There are children who walk in from other countries, and in one generation, they succeed. What's the difference? They don't even know the language. Years ago, there was a study done, and they found out that Asian kids did better than most any other. And they didn't know why. And they went into the homes to find out, and they found one key ingredient. The children had to sit at the table at night and do their homework. And a parent, usually dad, would sit at the table with them while they did their homework. Dad, who knew nothing. He didn't know the language as well as they did. He didn't know anything, couldn't help them on any level. He'd sit there and read a newspaper from his homeland. But what it said was, I think this is important. And the kids did better. And they continue to do better. And the black folks in this community, in this country, could do the same kind of thing if they had the right kind of encouragement. But the leadership is not offering it.